So, here's a thought. What if there's a secret connection, a hidden thread, linking a pretty brutal geopolitical crisis, the total silence and beauty of the night sky, and get this, the feeling of driving a sports car on an open road? Sounds kind of crazy, right? But it's true. This is a story about how one simple number can pop up in the most random, unexpected places in our world.
I know, I know. It sounds like the setup to a really weird joke, right? A rebel army, a star cluster, and a sports car walk into a bar. But seriously, believe it or not, there is a very real link between these three things. Just stick with me here. I promise it's all going to make sense by the end.
All right, so here's how we're going to crack this thing. We're going to tackle each piece of the puzzle, one by one. First up, we're diving into a really complex conflict, right in the heart of Africa. From there, we're going to shoot for the stars, literally. And then we'll bring it back down to Earth and hit the road in a cool sports car. After that, we'll see how it all clicks together.
Okay, let's start with our first piece of the puzzle. This one takes us to a pretty intense and complicated conflict. We're talking about the eastern part of the Democratic Republic of Congo, also known as the DRC. So to really get what's going on here, you've got to look at the map. We're zooming in on this area right here, the North and South Kivu provinces right up against the border with Rwanda. Now, this small part of the world, it's not just the center of all this fighting. It's also packed with natural resources. Resources that, believe it or not, connect right back to our everyday lives. The main group at the heart of the most recent fighting is called M23. And that name, M23, it's not just some random letters and numbers. It actually stands for the March 23 Movement. Why? Well, it's named after a peace deal that was signed on, you guessed it, March 23rd, 2009. So hang on to that number, it's important.
And, the really tragic irony here is that this name, which came from a peace deal, has become a symbol for this endless cycle of violence. The agreement gets signed in 2009, but just 3 years later, in 2012, fighters say the deal was violated, so they form the M23 and they take over the city of Goma. Then things go quiet for a few years, but in 2021 they're back. And by 2025, they've captured Goma all over again. It's just this heartbreaking, repeating story.
And the sheer scale of this crisis, it's just staggering. I mean, you've got multiple national armies involved, UN peacekeepers, and get this, nearly 2 million people have been forced to leave their homes. But check out this last point here, resources. A big part of this fight is about controlling mines for minerals like coltan. And coltan? Well, that's a crucial ingredient in the smartphone that you might literally be holding in your hand right now. So yeah, this conflict that feels so far away, it's actually in all of our pockets. And we absolutely cannot forget the human cost in all of this. It is just devastating. The International Crisis Group sums it up perfectly. This isn't just about politics or maps. It's a massive humanitarian catastrophe. We're talking tens of thousands of civilians killed and millions of lives completely turned upside down. So what's really important to understand is that this is also a war of words, a war of stories. On one side, you have the DRC. They look at the M23's actions and see it as basically a declaration of war by their neighbor Rwanda. But then you have Rwanda, and they tell a completely different story. They deny any support for M23, they call it a Congolese problem, and they point to threats from other armed groups in the area. All right, so that's piece number one, M23, a name tied to a date and a brutal cycle of conflict right here on Earth. Now, for piece number two, we're going to do a complete 180. We're going to look up, way up, far away from all this human drama to a place where the exact same name, M23, means something totally different, something much, much older. And here it is, Messier 23, M23 for short. It's what astronomers call an open star cluster. The easiest way to think about it is like a cosmic family, a huge group of stars that were all born from the same giant cloud of gas and dust, and they're all still hanging out, traveling through the galaxy together. If you've got a telescope, you can find it in the constellation Sagittarius. And just try to get your head around how far away this is. We're talking more than 2,000 light years. That's so far that the light you see from these stars tonight, it actually started its journey to Earth around the time the Roman Empire was just getting off the ground. When you look at M23, you are literally looking into the past. And the stars themselves, they're incredibly old. We're talking about 220 million years old.
To put that in perspective, when these stars first blinked on, dinosaurs were still roaming the Earth. It's a timescale that's just almost impossible for our brains to really process. And this big cosmic family has 176 confirmed stars in it. All of them are held together by gravity, just cruising through the Milky Way as a single group. What's really cool is we can actually read the notes from the guy who first cataloged it, Charles Messier, way back in 1764. He looked through his telescope and wrote down what he saw. He just called it a cluster of small stars, very close to one another. Pretty simple description for something so ancient and so far away, huh? Okay, so we've gone from the tangled conflicts of Earth to the deep, silent expanse of space. Now, for our third and final piece of this puzzle, let's bring it all the way back home. Let's talk about something way more down to earth, a modern sports car, and a really interesting debate that it sparked. So, an article over on BMW blog asks this fascinating question, and it kind of flies in the face of everything you think you know about performance cars. The question is, can a car with less power actually be more fun to drive? I mean, on paper, the answer is no way. But behind the wheel, that might be a totally different story. I mean, look at the numbers. If you just go by the spec sheet, the M240i just crushes it. It's got more cylinders, more than 120 extra horsepower, and it gets to 60 miles per hour a second and a half faster. That's a huge difference. So, case closed, right? The bigger one is better? Well, not so fast. See, the whole argument for the 230i has nothing to do with spreadsheets and stats. It's all about how the car feels. It's lighter, especially in the front, so the steering is super short and responsive. It's rear-wheel drive, which gives you that classic, kind of playful feel that car lovers go crazy for. You've probably heard the saying, it's more fun to drive a slow car fast than a fast car slow. That's the whole idea here. It's about being engaged with the car, not just about raw, straight-line speed. And then there's the price. The bigger, more powerful M240i costs over $12,000 more. That is a ton of money, and for a lot of people, that's the knockout punch. It's what makes the lighter, more engaging 230i not just the better driver's car, but honestly, the much smarter purchase. Okay, let's recap. We have a rebel group born from a broken peace deal. We have an ancient cluster of stars, millions of years old. And we have an underdog sports car, loved for its feel over its speed. 3 totally separate worlds. So, what's the one simple thing that ties them all together? It's just the number 23. That's it. That's the secret connection, the hidden pattern, the one unlikely label that all 3 of these things share, even though they have absolutely nothing else in common. Let's just lay it out one more time. The M23 rebel group, named for a peace accord signed on March 23rd. Messier 23, the star cluster, it was the 23rd object that Charles Messier added to his famous catalog. And the BMW 230i? Well, the 23 in its name points to its series and its engine size in the lineup. 3 completely different reasons, 3 totally different stories that all happen to land on the exact same number. How weird is that? And it really makes you think, doesn't it? It's just a cool reminder that the world is full of these strange echoes and hidden patterns. A world where the same number can represent a brutal war and a beautiful, silent star cluster billions of miles away. So maybe it's a good reason to just look a little closer at the world around us. What other crazy connections are out there, hiding in plain sight, just waiting for us to notice?